Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Trading with OC. Hopefully, you guys are having a fantastic weekend, and of course, have watched a lot of series. A lot of series. Not just kidding, but well, let's go and take a look at what's going on right now in the market. We're seeing a little bounce right there, and let me just get rid of this. I need to get a haircut. Absolutely. And well, then we're gonna be resetting back up and what's going on in the markets. We see a couple of bounces. I think those bounces are gonna be limited. Most of those bounces are based, or they are below the dynamic reactor. So most likely we're gonna be seeing them bouncing back down. That depends a little bit. Remember, today morning, Monday, we're gonna be looking into how to set up or where to get started to getting set up for tomorrow. Start entering a couple of trades. All right, so let's get started with you guys because you guys are the most amazing part of this journey in here. So we have JR. What's up, JR? Welcome, my friend. Welcome. We also have Califan. What's up, Kelly? How's it going? Week Y Fine 89. How's it going? Hopefully you are doing fantastic. Hit up that like button for absolutely. Please hit up that like button. Really appreciate that help. It really works, or it helps with the algorithm. All right, so a couple of things that I want to go over. It's gonna be right now ton. I have a analysis going on ton, and let's translate it because we might have an early bounce of what I was expecting in the raw crypto. How is it going, my friend? Hey, alumni, how is it going, brother? Welcome. So let's take it. Let's go ahead and go to the charts. All right, guys. So far, this is what I got on ton. Ton, I was looking or expecting to go a little bit farther down in here, but look at that. We're almost there on the flip of the ribbon. So we need to be a little bit patient here. It seems like the bounce already have played out on that dynamic reactor. So I think what we're gonna be safe to say it is waiting for today. I think we're gonna be going a little higher in here, somewhere around there. And remember, well, look at what we got in here. All right, so why is that? Well, I think taking this long might be just slightly too dangerous for me because it's not, I mean, it's just not much in there to be taken. I mean, for the best case scenario, 2.8, 3% is not that bad. When you're talking about a lower time frame, for 4 hours, we want a little bit bigger, something like a 5, 7, 8% at minimum. Other than that, well then, let's take a look at what else do we have in here. So let me go and let's translate this one ton into our setup. So let's go here. Yes, open anyway. And we're gonna be, of course, going to ton. By the way, a lot of good trades there. Ton coin. Here it is. Let's add it. Let's go ahead and check this out. Perfect. What we got in here that we bounce out of exactly the same zone, out of dynamic reactor. We did had a little bit of a high order block. That's why I was expecting for the price action to kind of sweep down here below the dynamic reactor. Did not play it out. That is fine. We still don't have peak performance, so we're not getting in. I think that we could be going higher to the next resistance in here. All right, but we can also be turning around, so that's why we're not long in this area until we see some further move. So areas of entry, I'm gonna keep it like is right here at the dynamic reactor. I'm gonna be waiting for my peak performance diamond, and of course let's go and take a look at here, our entry long right there. My stop loss is gonna be below this week, and then adding a little bit of that wiggle room. Let's see if I have anything else. Well, I do have a support in here that maybe we can be going farther down, so I'm gonna stretch a little bit more. And well, then am I still above one? Yes, I'm still above one, so I'm gonna go for that half of an entry. All right, so far we're gonna start slow. Today we want to position ourselves to where we're going to be entering some trades. We're just scanning the field just to see how that's gonna be playing out. All right, so let's see, do we have chat? Yes, we have the chat. How's it going, guys? In the raw crypto, double shout out. How is it going, my friend? All right, so let's go and take a look at a couple of other things. We have a bunch of alerts being hit. TAO hit the target, but we did not enter, so it did not hit the top here. That's fine, because remember what we were expecting here. We were expecting a reversal. All right, so let's just get rid of this for a second. Let's just, you know, like clean this up. And let's see, all right, are we going to be going higher? Who knows? I think we are going to be just slightly going higher. We're coming down. We have a little range. We have a V-shaped recovery. The high not higher than the range. So I think that we still have just a little bit more to go in here. Again, what we're looking, it is having that reversal on our oscillator. So far, let's see if we can pinpoint entries, because I think here where our dynamic reactor is going to be might be a little bit higher. I mean, I know that this is exactly where our little range is at, but right here, this is showing lack of strength. Look at also our prime score, very, very low. Consolidation score is rising. So, I don't know. This feels like it wants to do a Bart Simpson in here before it continues to the downside. So, still, I want to start placing a couple of stuff. So, I'm just going to guess an area, overall area where I do see that resistance. I'm going to go for a short position, but this is not yet an entry point, all right? My stop loss right there is right the next resistance, but let's go in between those two in the meantime. Okay, guys, give me 1 second. All right, I see what's going on. And then let's start adding the rest of our indicators. So where do we have some resistance in here? So maybe I can drop this a little lower here. Let's see, what else do we have? Smart entry areas right here and right there. So I'm in one smart money entry. Although look at that, we are also right here on a smart money entry. Am I gonna risk it? Not really. Not really. Could this be a good opportunity to short? Yes, but I just don't have confidence in here. I just don't have my bright colors to start turning around. I just don't have it. So I still need to give it some time. Let's see what else. Well, we already have seen that order block. Trend channel, nothing in here. VRVP, well, back at support. If we have a comeback down here, let's add that as an alert. We have our VRVP right there. And if we hit this area, there's not going to be an actual plan for that area. Let me see. Where is my price thing? Oh, here it is. Right there, we need to reanalyze our entry, what's going on in here. If we're just flipping around in here, we're going to be looking for that reversal area. But if we're not, if we are instead jumping back up in here, like we did in here, this is going to be our re-entry for a long, and then hitting this up, which actually, this looks way, way better. But we still need to give it a chance to develop, all right? So 2 areas right there, one for a short and another one for a possible long. All right, again, those are not just yet complete trades. We still need to wait for resolution. My stop loss could be right at this candle, and then give myself that little wiggle room. Am I still above 1? Yes, I am. All right, so that could be a good one. If you believe that Forex method they think false move money, then 3 days reversal. So maybe false move up, reversal down. Could be, absolutely, it could be. In fact, this is the general idea of what I'm seeing, because at the end of it all, and let me just get rid of all of my drawings, we are below dynamic reactor, so we're bearish. On the 4 hours, we're bearish, and this is a bounce for a continuation to the downside. So what would this define this? Or I mean, what would define if this is just a continuation to the downside? This next structure that we have, like for example in here, right? Where are we? Are we maybe coming down? We have the range, V-shaped recovery continuation, so a flat pause of bearish continuation. Could be, could absolutely possibly be, right? Or are we right here after the V-shaped recovery, where we're going to be having a range. All right. So the only thing that we can do now is speculate and plan for both case scenarios. But again, have it in mind that we are on a possible shift. All right. So we are bearish. So there we go. We are below dynamic reactor. So what we're going to be going for is going to be a short. In fact, if we think like that, we could be opening a short right now. But again, it's just too soon for me to open a short. I need to see if we're going to be holding. If not, if we start breaking this low, well, then I will be catching the break of structure. Might be late. Yes, it could be a little late. How could maybe I trade this? I could be going to a lower time frame, maybe looking at the 15 minutes. But just being Monday, like you mentioned, false move on the Monday, then continuation or reversal for Tuesday. That's why I tend to give myself that wiggle time. All right, so we can actually have a little more structure here. What kind of structure we have? A rounded top in here. We have a trend line, a very nice trend line that has already been broken. It's not about the breakout, it's about the retest continuation, but we are still above dynamic reactor. So another thing that we can do just for reference is to go for that dynamic reactor, and when we hit dynamic reactor, that's when we could start looking for, hey, what are we doing? Are we making a lower low? If that is the case, we just wait it out for a lower high. Our entry to the short, and then off we go to TP1, TP2, and TP3. All right, so this could be another opportunity for example, TAO, right? So in fact, why not? Let's go and do it like this. But first, we need to have this lower low, all right? Stop loss right here, and then I give myself that wiggle room. And then I aim for TP number 1, and let's go for TP number 2. All right, this one, let's see if we can have a text added to it. Labels or something like that, line. All right. Nope. But what I can absolutely do, it's just 15 mean. Perfect. All right. I think we got it. All right. Let's go to the next one. Link. Oh, by the way, I want to actually go to, what is it here? Because this one played out early on August the 2nd. We were looking right here at this breakout. Look at that beautiful breakout. In fact, if you can take a look at it here, crossing trend line. So we crossed the trend line that it has an alert to it. All right. And then look at that, a beautiful movement. What I'm expecting here, let's go and just adjust this. It is to find a peak performance diamond for me to start thinking to that possible reversal. Where will that peak performance be? Well, if I bring up my indicators, you'll see that I'm basically above all of my support or my resistances, right? The next thing that I'm seeing here, it is, and let me just get rid of this one, it is this predictive range, all right? Not only that predictive range, we also have another predictive range along with somewhat of a possible smart money entry. Not quite there yet, but still, all right? You also notice this one. I'll get to it into a minute. In fact, I think you already have seen it. But let's go here. All right, we are at the top of that big order block. All right, so we only need to get rid of that volume. In fact, we have going through. Most likely, we're going to be ranging a little bit in between those price actions because we are very close between the bears and the bulls. So 50-50. Most likely, it's going to disappear without that much of a result, but with a little bit of that volatility in between. All right, so what else do we have in here? Nothing really good in here. Ghost trend, we don't have a ghost trend so far. And then FIBP, look at that. It's aiming a little bit higher in between 124, somewhere around the 124. But let me go for volume profile bar magnifier, look at where is my folding knives strategy, right? It also works for Hail Mary targets. So I believe based on this indicator and my predictive ranging here, my other predictive ranging here, and what else we got right below, no, right above, what was it? I think that was it. Well, then my confluence, it is right there, but I also have a big order block. So I think that, well, despite the base of the movement could be getting here, we can wick all the way up to somewhere around 128. So let's add 2 alerts. I want one in here to pre-alert me as we're going up, and then I want another one right there in between those two things, in between my area of entry, right, and then right after the 2 predictive lines. Why am I looking for that? Because I might be deciding to jump a little bit early depending on how my oscillator is looking. All right, so Duality C, hello, what's up, brother? Welcome. All right, what other thing we have in here? Jupiter has been doing absolutely crazy. So look at that, went all the way down here, very important. And let me zoom in here. Look at that, right there to the order block. Not only that, what happening here? Well, we are bouncing back up. Kelly, I think you are onto something. Look at my next resistances in here. Let's actually add, oh, we already have it, an alert in there, all right? Why is that? Because we have a dynamic reactor in here. It's not about the breakout, it's about the retest. Off we go. And if we hold somewhere around here, better yet, somewhere around here, we could be creating a range that most likely is going to end up to the upside. But so far, I think this is a good opportunity to short Jupiter, especially since we have seen that big drop back down, right? So look at that. That oscillator is not actually looking so strong, right? Yeah, it's barely making that mountain. The price action, yes, it's fairly moving, but still not really quite there yet. So we don't see the strength in there. So I think you're onto something. Let's take a look at Link also. Here it is. Link, we are on the part of make or break. Why? Because we're overshooting the resistance that I was expecting here, all right? Which is a dynamic reactor. So what might happen? Where is our next? And I'm telling you, this indicator, it's fire. All right, this indicator is telling us that we have another order block in here. We also have our VRVP or point of control from the VRVP right here, this one here. All right, let's just get rid of this so you can see it, the overall area. So I'm thinking that right here, we could be bursting right through. And let me just move this slightly below. There it is. So chain link, maybe breaking through that dynamic reactor. I think that is a big possibility. Smashing right here on the 17.8 zone and then coming back down. This right here is going to be defining whether, let me just make it so right here, it's going to be defining whether if we push up or if we continue downwards. Most likely, I think we're going to make another push, make a little range in here, and that is because of the shape that we have. I believe that we might be able to, let me just bring a couple of other indicators, there we go. We might be able to push through and then create a little ranging here. And well, despite we have a very loud order blocking here, well, dynamic reactor, it happens to be a big volume zone, and if we're able to break it with strength, I think it's gonna hold. So there we go, look at that. I think that we might be on something like in this case scenario, right, where we create that little range around the dynamic reactor. Hey, little fish, how's it going, brother? Welcome, my friend. Nice to have you around, brother. All right, let's talk about Pingu because Pingu, oh my God, look at that, beautiful entry on Pingu. Here it is. I was expecting it to fall a little bit faster, but it did not. That's perfectly fine. Look at that, went right here on the third touch, right into my entry point, and off we go. If you haven't, time to take profits. Why? Because we're getting to the range. This is a little disturbance in the way down. Not only that, look at the size of that dump, pump, and dump again. I mean, look at the size of that movement. That movement, it's very violent. It's very dramatic. Look at that. It's a 14% no leverage. It is crazy. So I don't think that we want to be trading this if we're not expecting that. We already are entering an entry. Let's take some profits, and well, then let's the rest decide, right? So another thing that I'm looking into, there you go, is my predictive ranges. So predictive ranges stop. Look at also what other area we have. We have a big area of retail money, all right, where we tend to range a little. Once again, it will make sense for us to range on that area because we have seen that range played over and over and over. So maybe we can start going for a short position somewhere around this point. Let's call this one like this. And let's try to get in here for a short position. Let's reuse this one right there. Stop loss, add my wick, give myself a little bit of a wiggle room, taking profits, another ranging zone. And well, then am I still above one? Oops. Yep, I am. So that is good to go. I'm going to be moving my alert a little bit below, and that is just to give me enough space to prepare for that entry. Even if I can jump in here. Hey, we have Alex on Crypto in the house. How is it going, brother? Welcome. Great to have you here. Thank you so much for spending a little bit of your time here in the show. Really appreciate it, brother. Love it. How's your trip going, my friend? Hopefully it's going fantastic. Alex, in the house. All right. So let's go and see what else we have. At this point, I want to start using or looking into, where is it? Why can't I make it? Oh, here it is. Into the bubbles. So today somebody told me, hey, can you look at useless coins? And I was, yeah, absolutely. Are we going nuts on useless coins? And it happened that I was just ignorant about it, man. There is a coin called useless. All right, so let's go take a look at useless. Again, a little bit on the meme coin. Of course, absolutely meme coin. So let's go and check that out. And I think we have potential. What potential? I think it's going to be moving. All right, where to? We have a big breakout. Let me just get rid of everything here. All right, look at that. We have a big megaphone in here, starting all the way from back there. We have a lower, well, we did not hit the target. It's not a lower high, of course, but we absolutely have a lower low, man. What are we expecting here? What are we looking for? We're looking for a lower high. So how high would that lower high be? Well, my first intuition comes in here. And that is because I right there have an order block. All right. What else do we have? All right. So let's take a look at what else do I have in here. Well, let's see. A bunch of resistances at the same zone. That's looking juicy. The most broken or passed through line, which is the blue line. Look at that. We passed through 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You see, like it makes sense, right? So maybe we can go here and bounce back down, creating officially that lower high. I think that could be a good short. You already have here my alert. Let's go and mark that up in here. And then let's do that short position. There we go. Stop loss right here on my golden line. Give myself a little bit of a wiggle room. And of course, I'm going to be aiming for a lower high. So a lower low, sorry. So TP number 1, 0.18. TP number 2, 0.12. All right. So far, this is looking juicy, especially because this is a low volume entry. But again, this is not an entry. Look at that. We could be looking at 59.53 on spot, just like that. All right. So I think this could be a good opportunity. We'll call that a fourth of an entry. We're not trying to lose a lot of money here in case it just pumps like crazy. All right, I don't think that we're gonna pump like crazy, but still, when talking about meme coins, we really need to be careful. All right, hey, do you have time to look at AIX? Absolutely, my friend, absolutely. Let's go and actually let's take a look at it right now. AIXBT, one of the channel's favorite. All right, AIXBT, we see a trend line here. All right, right there. Important. I think this is not the end of the trend line because I think we can grab here to here, and then what happens? We are almost right there. So I mean, if I change this, well, there's no way that I can actually go through this one, but let's just keep it like that. All right, so pretty close. It's not about the breakout, it's about the retest. I think we can come back in here, although we're rising up with no strength. But if for any reason we do this, we absolutely can get to dynamic reactor. So let's go and add an alert. Why don't we buy right now if we can get all the way up here? Because this is for me not worth taking the risk, especially now that we could be retracing. Look at where we're tracing here. All right, so we could be retracing very soon and then going to the loud order block. So at this point, let's mark these areas. All right, so first area for entry, that's gonna be there for a long position. Stop loss right at the bottom. Give myself a little bit of a wiggle room and then aiming to the blue line. And well, then in case I'm wrong about this, let's go and go for a short. So let's do the short somewhere around here, right there. Stop loss. Ooh, it's a little difficult. Let me see if I can catch that stop loss somehow using another tool. So for example, right here. Oh, here it is. Easy peasy. Right there. We have a resistance a little bit above the resistance. It's still above one. Barely. So I think this could be another quarter of an entry and quarter of an entry, of course. Harp, how is it going, my friend? Welcome. By the way, guys, please hit that like button if you can. That really helps with the algorithm, and I'll really appreciate it for you, my friends. Thank you very much. All right, let's see what else do we have in here. So do we have crypto bubbles? Yes, we do. Again, looking at that meme core, come on. And there's no way I can, well, I mean, I get BitGet, but I'm not gonna be trading that at BitGet, neither in Mexi. All right, so seems like I will not be trading this. Which other one here? Mental, can I trade this cool coin? Bybit, I think I can do Bybit. How is Bybit? Cool coin, Bybit. I think we can do Bybit. Let's go for that. But look at that, Uni's pumping up. And remember that Piper mentioned this. When we start seeing people transferring their money, grabbing some altcoin profits, well, we're gonna be seeing Uni pumping, right? So again, we're seeing people grabbing profits out of meme coins, out of other coins, right? So Uni is pumping. So what's up next? Dumping of the altcoins. So why not? Uni, let's take a look at Uni, just for a good measure. Why not? And you gotta be kidding me. Can we do it on bluffing? Yes, I think so. There it is. Much better. All right. We have a significant low. I mean, even if we close everything, look at that. Where is our trend line? When is a trend broken? When the trend line is broken, we have a lower high and a lower low. What else are we looking for? We're looking for the next area of bouncing zones. All right, so somewhere around here. What else do we have here? Well, we have a support or resistance and a support or resistance. So I think our area is very well defined. We could go ahead and turn on our support and resistances. Let's see. Maybe they are a little bit off. So there it is. So maybe this it's going to be our entry zone. All right. So there we go. Let me short here. Let's somewhere around here. It's not a given entry, guys. Not just yet. And then we have this resistance a little bit higher. And then what are we going to be aiming? To the previous lows. Or maybe slightly higher. Because we can still create a higher low and start creating a triangle here. Remember what we learned about morphology. Alright? So, crypto manipulation, I hope so. I'm negative 20% on or so low. Oof. Sorry to hear that, brother. All right. So far, so good. I think this is going to be dangerous. Look at that. 1.3, barely over 1. So again, 1 quarter. Guys, when these are not given entries. Most likely tonight, tomorrow morning, we're going to be deciding which ones are going to be taking. I think many of these are going to start ringing. All right. So we need to be patient and decide which ones we're going to be taking. So far, I'm just scanning, see which ones are going to be moving, and then when I find the opportunity, I'm going to be deciding which ones could have the most potential, and I'm going to be doing so with my oscillator and my RSI prime. All right, remember I'm looking for tiny candles. And so far, oof, look at that, tiny candles. Not quite as tiny as I want, all right? But we're getting there. We're getting there. Look at that. We're getting there. In fact, I don't know if we should be... No, let's leave it as is. Because if I do this, I have a much bigger area of mistake. So let's do it. Let's do that. If it goes, it goes. Perfect. There's going to be many other coins that I can trade after the fact. All right. So, oop. This is, well, yeah, let me just get rid of this. And so get rid of a couple of things in here. All right, perfect. Let's move on into our bubbles. And I saw something here. Fart coin. Perfect. It picked and then it's going back down. We can absolutely trade fart coin. Here it is. And there we go. So we have already a very nice, look at that trend line. Right here, 3-touch trend line. I think right here we could be having, there we go, maybe an opportunity for a higher low. So around here, why are we not trading this movement? Because it is onshore. We're still just jumping in here. If you want to trade a breakout, just wait for this next candle and you might be able to long it somewhere around here. Somewhere around here. I mean, you can even... Let me actually make this one like that. All right, perfect. Are we going to be taking this? No, so I'm going to remove it. But that is a very good opportunity. And then we could be looking for that shorting here and then a head switch right there. Again, not given entries, but we're preparing for what's coming. All right. So I think that we have gone through a couple of altcoins. Let's leave it as is. I think today the scouting has been very, very good. I'm going to be leaving, for example, I've been eyeing AVAX. Not only because we got a hit. I want to get back at it. But because we're having a trendline breakout. Very nice breakout. And then a possible reversal. We are in reversal zones, but we can still go higher in here. So that's what I'm eyeing here. So let's add it. You can see that I already have an alert in here. All right. Let's add another alert right down here. And why am I adding this alert? Just in case this is the topic coming back down, I'm going to be looking for a range in here or a triangle on that zone. Hey, what's up, brother? Sui, absolutely. Let's take a look at Sui. Here it is. All right. In fact, everything is playing out almost exactly the same. We must be below dynamic reactor. We also are breaking through a trend line. It's not about your breakout, it's about your retest, and then we need to wait for peak performance right here We need to wait for tiny candles in here. And well, then how high can we go from here? That is not to take an entry to the long side. This is to position ourselves for a possible short position, all right? That depends also where we're going to be hitting. For example, let's go and let's get it. Right now, we have a daily resistance with a predictive range in here. Let's mark those two and let's just get rid of the circle. Our normal ranges, or sorry, support resistance, we have another one in here, another one in here with a box. All right, perfect. So we're starting to see a pattern. If we're able to push through like that, I think we could easily come back down and bounce back up. But that we're not up here yet. All right, so still giving it a little bit of time. So we need to wait. What are we going to be looking for? Once again, tiny candles on your RSI, peak performance on your linear regression. All right. And finally, well, if you have the premium indicators, we're going to be looking for the flip of the ribbon, some reversals, some overboughting here. And that is going to be your entry to short it to whatever resistance it is. So, yeah, there it is. How low can we go? Well, I'm looking at a 298. It's not that bad. It's not that shabby. I think that is like maybe 10%. I don't know. Let's measure that. Or 22%. Way bigger than I was expecting. So yeah, we could keep going lower. So yeah. Oh, my pleasure, my friend. My pleasure. Yeah. So again, there is the little chance that we break above. If we break above, I think we're going to be golden for a retracement long position, right? So the long position, well, let me start adding my alerts because I don't want to miss this one. I think this is going to be a juicy entry. And then for a double bottom, in case we are going lower, here and there, all right? So shorting it, longing it, all right, in case we do that. If not, we just short it all the way down. How this long is going to work, I just open a simultaneous long, quarter of a position, and then set my stop loss. If I get stopped out, that's fine. If I make a little bounce, I close it early and leave both open. So if it moves up, I'm going to be making money. And if it moves down, I'm also going to be making some money. So hedging this area is going to be, I think, very, very profitable. So nice call on Sui, by the way. All right, guys. So let's get it. I think we have just gone through a couple of zones, and I'm moving my camera for some reason. There it is. Oh, come on. Yep. All right, I broke today I broke my stand for my camera, so it's just like barely, I don't know how this is standing there. But other than that, guys, thank you so much for joining today. I really appreciate you guys joining. You guys always are fantastic to be around. Thank you so much. Hey, Drew, what's up, brother? A little reminder, click that like button. Really helps with indicators. And let's see how the market reacts tonight. We might be able to be a little lucky and start entering a couple of trades today, although I believe tomorrow is going to be the day where we actually execute those trades. So other than that, guys, have a fantastic rest of your day. And as always, see you guys tomorrow.